have a patient who came in for a radius fracture and a dislocation. When you have a fracture, it's bad enough. When you have a dislocation, it's bad enough. But when you have a fracture dislocation together, it makes it a lot more complicated. My name is Huang. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist. And I want to share with you 3 things that I'm always looking for when I have somebody who's coming in a little bit complicated, because I want you to keep an eye on this yourself if you're someone who's suffering with a fracture and a dislocation or a fracture dislocation, because all injuries come in a little bit differently. Some people come in and they have a small fracture, and some people come in and they have a really big fracture. And by big fracture, I mean the bone is just broken into multiple pieces. If you hear the word like comminuted, I had to learn how to say that word too. Comminuted, it means it's broken up into multiple pieces. And so when things are broken up into multiple pieces, if they're big pieces, the doctor can fix that a little bit better. But when it's comminuted and then it's a bunch of small pieces, it makes it a little bit harder. I always describe it as like Humpty Dumpty fell off the Great Wall and all the king's men, and they're trying to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Well, it's kind of like that. So if you have a little break, it's a little bit easier to put you back together. When you have a big break, it makes it a little bit more challenging. So I wanted to share with you because I have a patient who came in, and then also have another friend who has the same, very similar, but is a fracture of the radius and then a dislocation. And I always tell my patients it's really important to understand what you have, because if you don't know, then you don't know how to fully treat it, right? You don't know how to have good or better conversations with your therapist so they can help you manage what's going on. But a distal radius fracture is here. So our radius is really long. It starts in our elbow. See this bone right here? That's your radius, comes all the way down. This is your radius. Sometimes your radius is broken right by your wrist, and sometimes it's broken up here in the middle of your arm, and sometimes it's broken up here by your elbow. So we would call this like an elbow fracture, but over here you're talking a little bit more closer to the wrist, but this is called a shaft fracture. Now so this is just one bone. This is your ulna. So this bump right here, this is your ulna styloid, right? And this bone, if you take it and you trace it all the way down into this bump, this is your ulna. This is one long bone. So you have one long bone, and then this is your ulna, this is your radius. And so when you turn your palm up and down, rotates on each other. It's this bone that rotates on this bone. And you have what's called joints, right? Joints allow you movement. So in order to be able to turn your palm up and down, you have a joint here and a joint here. So in distal radius fracture, or radius fractures, you can also sustain a fracture with a dislocation. So sometimes the dislocation is down here, and sometimes the dislocation is up here. Either way, it disrupts your ability to turn your palm up and down. Anything that disrupts your ability to turn your palm up and down is going to affect how well you essentially can start to move your wrists and your fingers, because all the muscles that move your fingers start down here. All the muscles that move your wrists start down here. So if that part is broken, then it's really tough, right? So number 1 is just motion. So we already know what motions are lacking and what motions you want to get back. But in trying to get back your motion, your body is really smart. It's going to start to compensate. So you have to be careful of how you're compensating, because when you're compensating, your fingers can get messed up, right? So you might not have enough motion, or you might kind of torque and twist your thumb too much. So, just pay attention and tell your therapist when you're having problems with your thumb. Like my patient specifically is having some thumb pain, not there so much, but it's right here at this base. Your thumb comprises of 3 joints, the little one, the middle one, and the big one, right? So he's having a lot of thumb pain, but he had a little bit of thumb pain from before that I just found out about. So, but thumb pain because you're trying to move so much. And a lot of times, think about gravity. Gravity is pulling you down. So your wrist likes to sit here versus here. And so that can kind of twist and torque at your wrist too. So pay attention to what's going on with your hands. You want to get, number 1, as fast as you can, range of motion in your fingers. Number two, when it comes to the motion, is that you got to pay attention to your shoulder. You know, I always teach my patients, I'm looking at their shoulder, I'm looking for compensation, I'm looking for patterns of like people getting stuck. So a lot of times shoulders will start to lose motion in this direction and this direction because you're just compensating because you can't move your arm. So I always pay attention to fingers and to shoulders. That's number one I'm paying attention to. Number two, the thing I'm paying attention to are nerves. Don't discount nerves being a problem. We have to catch nerve problems early on, because if we don't catch them and ignore them, nerves give power to your muscles. And if you have no power to your muscles, then you can't move. And so if you're stuck, you have to say, is it a joint problem because I can't move, or is it because I got no power to my muscles and I feel weak and I feel heavy and I feel tight and I feel numb and I feel like there's a lot of nerve issues that can happen because we have three major nerves that pass through to let our hands move and allow us to turn our palms up and down and move our wrists up and down, okay? So we have our ulnar nerve is on the inside, that's your funny bone nerve. And then right where your biceps is, that's your median nerve. That's the one that everyone thinks about as carpal tunnel, right? It affects the thumb, your index finger, your middle finger, and half of this finger. So if you have numbness, tingling, if you cannot move your thumb, so this is, I just checked on my patient. I checked on him when he first came, and I saw motion. Today I'm kind of concerned because I did not see motion. I'm like, dude, what's going on, right? So I checked to see, it's called the blocking, but you're blocking the big knuckle and the middle knuckle, and I just checked to see if the tips move. If the tips move, that means that that nerve right here, that carpal tunnel, the median nerve, that it's working. It also comes to this, and if it's not moving or it's not moving well, then I'm concerned, hey, let me keep an eye on that nerve, right? Because I don't want nerve problems. This nerve right here on the ulnar side, that's your funny bone, that nerve goes to the pinky and then the side of this finger, right? So in my patient, he came in, he was telling me he had numbness in those two fingers. Already I'm like, ding, 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 we have a potential nerve problem. It's very normal to kind of have that, especially, look how you fell and broke it, boom. So if you fell and you broke like this, right? How is it not impacting your elbow and your shoulder in that accident? Of course there was something. So this nerve is taking a hit because he has kind of he's numb. So sensation is one problem, and then motion is another problem, right? Sensation, you get the numbness, you get the tingling, you get sometimes with nerves you can feel very swollen without being really swollen. It's a little hard to tell once you've had a fracture and you had surgery, but numbness is one of the biggest things. Movement is the second thing we're looking for. So he has some movement, but not great. In the ulnar nerve, one thing that I'm noticing is that this big knuckle is sitting a little bit too far back. We call this hyperextension. When these knuckles sit too far back, it bends these knuckles. That's just anatomy. That's just the nature of, I'm not going to go into a huge anatomy lesson, but that's just what happens with the hands. This is the attitude of that nerve and how the hand falls into it. When we start seeing that, I'm like, we potentially have a nerve issue. You can't fix these by yourself. I'm educating. Hopefully you find this video educational. If you have these problems, you're like, oh, I gotta go find myself a therapist to help me with this. Because some things you just can't do on your own. You can learn what to do. The therapist will help you to figure it out. A good therapist will find that problem for you, point it out. If they didn't find those problems, and then you need to, as someone with the injury, you need to make sure you're bringing it up to your patient. My patient, I had to ask him that question. As part of my evaluation, do you have any numbness? Do you have tingling? But I was able to spot that movement pattern immediately, and I was like, do you have numbness in those fingers? And he's like, oh yeah, but yeah, actually I do. Okay, let's look at it and let's test it and let's work it so we don't continue to see that problem. I don't want to wait until the swelling is gone to address that problem. I don't want to wait until the bone is healed to address and fix that problem. Nerve problems need to be addressed fast and early on if you can help it, because nerve problems will cause you to have a slower progress in your recovery. So, you know, hope that helps you. You don't want those two nerves affecting how your fingers feel, because it affects how your hand and wrist move. And if it hurt the third nerve, which is the radial nerve, it's very rare in those well, actually it is rare. I've seen it before in shaft fractures. I had a young woman on a boat, seeing that she was on a boat and their boat was going to hit another boat, and she put her arm out thinking that it wasn't going to be anything because it was moving so slowly, and the pressure of the boat cracked her bone right here, overstretched that nerve. She ended up with what's called a wrist drop. If you hurt that nerve, you lose motion of your wrist, and then you cannot open your fingers. Then we have to do different stuff to fix that. That's a whole nother problem. But nerve injuries after radius fractures, ulnar fractures, it's not just movement of the hand, wrist, and forearm, but it also can irritate and mess up the nerve in different ways. So I'm encouraging to go and take care of those things, you know, fast, right? Don't ignore it. Don't try to do your own stuff, because you're probably missing something. And I know not everyone has the capacity to afford the therapy, the capacity to find really good therapists in their area, because I, you know, been getting messages that my videos are going global. But I'm just encouraging you, because if you can, even if it's for a little bit, try to get some professional help. So motion, all where it's broken, but above, below and above, check that out. Nerves, don't ignore nerves. The last one is scarring. Scarring is huge. Scarring is never just where you see it, but it is pervasive. It's kind of all over. So just because you have a scar right here, so my patient's got a big old scar from here to here. He's got 3 more slits on this side. You know, it doesn't matter if the surgeon was great and the surgery looks good, the bone's healing. Scars are scars, and they will stick down. That's the nature of scars. They stick down, and that's how they heal. But in that process, don't wait for the scars to get soft, to loosen up by itself. Don't wait until, you know, all the swelling go down. It's through movement and stress of those scars that help you to get more motion, to get rid of your pain, and to make the scars soft. I don't care what kind of creams you put. If you see my videos on taping, on a silicone, movement by far is the thing that will help you the most. And so you have to learn how to move correctly. It is not always bending in, it's not always lifting weights in. Sometimes it's about opening, right? So when it comes to scars, you want to move them, and you want to move them fast, and you want to move them frequently. So wounds normally heal within 2 weeks. Like if you have a normal healing incision and wound, they heal within 2 weeks. And within 2 weeks, then you can start any massaging to the scar, moving the scar. If you move your fingers, I can't stress this enough, if you have a big old scar in your forearm, when you move your fingers, it will move those tendons and scar deep inside. Scars are not just what you see on the outside. Scars develop on the inside. That's the whole point. They cut you, you broke in there, it's got to move. So when you move your fingers, that moves your scar. When you move your wrist, that moves your scar. When you move your palms up and down, that moves your scar. That you got to think about not just where you see it, but the whole thing, right? This whole thing right here. Move it, right? Move it, twist it to one direction, twist it to the other direction. You got to move. Your skin normally moves, right? Your skin, it moves. So you got to move it. Don't just think up and down. Oh, I'm just going to massage it up and down. It's got to go up and down, but it's got to rotate, because your forearm rotates. We're not one-dimensional people. We move in multiple directions. So move that scar. It's through active movement that's going to help you move that scar the most. So those are some key things that I'm paying attention to from the get-go and throughout my sessions with my patients. And some things you're able to do on your own, and some things you need a professional eye to look for. All right? If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. Again, my name is Huang with Hands On Therapy Services. I have a therapy clinic here in Miami, Florida. So if you're in the area, if you need my help, my link's below. All right, until the next time, click the like button, leave me a comment, and subscribe. And also, if you can, share this with somebody that you know that might need it. All right, you never know. All right, thanks.